What's up, everybody? It's Brandon Lokarian here today, and today I want to walk you guys through a flip. And this was a flip that came to me from the MLS actually, and a client and I were going to buy this thing. We went to see it with our contractor, and we went in there and it was completely gutted. It was perfect. This property needed a lot of work, right? Again, like I said, it was completely gutted. There was no drywall up, there was no electrical, no plumbing in place, but the walls were up, the studs were up, so it was in perfect condition, ready for us to come in there and do our own thing, right? So this property came from an online source through the MLS, and again, there are tons of properties on the MLS right now that are being sold as is that could work for flips. And the only thing though is there's a lot of competition. So I'll tell you guys at the end, but there was a lot of competition. And I just want to show you guys behind, like how it worked with our numbers, right? Like, what do I think about when I'm purchasing a flip, and how does the numbers work out, right? To determine, like, your ultimate like offer price, right? Because that's what everybody wants to know is like, how much should I buy a flip for? Well, this video is for you. So without further ado, let's jump into it. So this was in Woodbridge, Virginia. So we'll call it Woodbridge, Virginia flip. Hopefully you guys can understand my writing. And the list price on this property was $200,000, right? Right. And basically we needed to renovate it. This thing needed a ton of renovations. Like I said, it had no water, it had no electrical, like none of that stuff, no plumbing in place and all that stuff. So we estimated this with our contractor who walked it with us. It was going to be about $100,000. And one of the things that I like to do when you're estimating renovations, I always add 10% because you always end up going over. And if you don't, why not, like, at least like protect yourself, because things could go up. You don't exactly know like what's behind the walls. In this case, we knew, but you just never know what problems you could run into, or maybe some material prices go up on you and you just have to adjust. So I always account for about 10% extra, which gives us a little bit extra and a little bit more meat on the bones. So in this renovation, we need a new roof, right? We had flooring. We had walls, right? New drywall. Finished the basement. Sorry about my writing. Bathrooms. Kitchen. Again, electrical. Plumbing. Right, everything, right? And then landscaping, right? Landscaping is something too where when you're looking at this 10%, sometimes it could add up. And so this property, when we ran the comps, it came back at our ARV was $470,000, right? So was $470,000. And so that gives you like our exit. That was our exit. Now the market has changed quite a bit, right? As you guys know, we're in an increasing interest rate market. So whenever it's doing that, you want to make sure that you're hedging your bet. So we assumed that the ARV was actually 450, right? That was going to be our conservative number. So one of the first things you want to determine is how much profit you want to make, right? That's always pay yourself first. So we did ARV times 0.8%, 80%, right? So that's going to give you your profit, right? So that's going to essentially, this is your 20% profit here. Right? Maybe not equals, but that's just that. So our 20% profit, it just secures it at 450, right? And we came up with, and then that equals $360,000. Now, what you want to do is this 10% here. This is actually 110. Okay, $110,000. So that comes out here, right? So we're gonna do minus 110, $110,000. Then we've got holding costs, right? So our holding costs, because we were doing private money lender, was gonna be about $8,000. And then we have like our commissions, our real estate commissions, because we were gonna list it ourselves, so we were gonna not pay a seller's commission. And then we had our closing costs, which was another 10,000, right? Roughly. And then miscellaneous, right? Miscellaneous charges that you might have. You might not think that you need it. Maybe you need some, to pay for the photos or pay for the Matterport. Maybe it's some staging and whatnot in there. So we did, $2,000. So basically, that left us with an offer price of $210,000. So that's how you determine what your offer price is. And that's how we did it. Now, I will be honest with you guys, on this one, we did go a little bit above because we knew we can kind of control it a little bit. And if we didn't, sell it, we could rent it out and still have some skin in the game, right? Because, we were willing to take a little bit of a hit on this 20% profit, and it was mainly because our partner was okay with it. So that's one of the things you need to think about is, what is your partner okay with? And what are you okay with ultimately? But ideally, I want to see a 20% profit on a flip, especially for, after you pay capital gains taxes and all the stuff, right? So we end up not getting this property because they had 28 offers, right? Like in less than 24 hours, they got 28 offers. I think we were in the top 5, but we still didn't get it, right? And that's okay, right? And that's one of the things with this, this business is that you have to understand that not every single property you will get, right? Maybe out of 20 properties you're writing offers on, you might get 1, and that's okay. It's a numbers game, but don't change your formula. Don't change your formula for people or things that just don't fit your buy box or whatever your criteria is. If you're like, I need to make 20% profit, or if you're like, I need to make 50% profit, don't ever change that, right? I'm not here telling you guys to change that. I'm just here saying, hey, this is our formula. If your profit is like, hey, I need to make 50% profit on this, you change this number by 50% here, right? So you change that to a 0.5, right? Or 50%, right? And that's figure out, like, change it back. So, but that's just to figure out exactly what your offer price is and what you are okay with, because ultimately you're the risk manager for your own assets and your own lifeline. So make sure that you're factoring those things in. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely hit the subscribe button below if you didn't. If you aren't already subscribed, I'd love to see you on my next video. Thank you and have a great day.